Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today we're doing another reviews and ratings episode where I review and rate all the different games I've been playing in the past 2 weeks with friends, family, and even solo. Today we're only going to be going through 4 different games. I've got other games that I want to review, but I want to do individual reviews for them because they're kind of bigger, hotter name titles. So we're just going to go through 4 of these titles today. And we're going to start with my least favorite, go to my favorite. Give a short overview of each of the game, give my personal thoughts, give a final rating for that game. So, our first game that we're going to be talking about today is Distant Suns. Distant Suns is in that flip and write genre of games. In this game, you are going to be taking shapes, drawing them on your own personal player board, trying to cover up your map, trying to cover up different symbols with specific types of shapes, and trying to reach the corners of the map in order to get more points. This game is... I've played this game 100 different times in 100 different ways. I'm kind of getting sick of the games, these flip and write games, where you're just drawing a shape out on a map, trying to cover up different symbols. Because to me, there's nothing really original about this game. I don't think it's a bad game by any stretch of the means. But I've got 10 other games in my collection alone that are you're drawing shapes on a map, trying to cover up things. And the unique thing about this particular one is that you are picking your shape that you're going to be drawing, but then you're also picking all the other people's shape that they're basically going to be drawing. You have like this little token, and you put it above your shape that you're going to be drawing, and there's a little side piece that points to a different shape, either that adjacent to it, and it can be on the left or right of your shape, and the other people are going to be drawing that. This game, it's going to get a 6 rating from me. I don't think it's bad by any means, but it's nothing special. There's nothing unique to me about this. I'll play it again if someone asks me to, but I played it a couple times. I'm like, yeah, I've played this game 100 times, so it's instantly getting into the giveaway pile for someone. I'll find someone else that will enjoy it a little bit more than myself. So 6 rating for Distant Suns. Next game we are going to is a small card game. This is Doomlings. I got this game advertised to me everywhere I went, whether it was on Facebook, whether it was on some kind of internet. It was just everywhere, always getting advertised to me. Try this fun little card game. And I was like, I finally saw it at Target the other day, and it was on sale for like $17, $18, and I'm like, I'll try it. I'll try it for sure. And in this game, it is very fast, and you're basically playing out a card. Each round, there's a certain event that happens, and that will affect things. There's events, and then there's catastrophes. Catastrophes are bad things. The events usually are good things, or minimal good things. But you basically play around with those specific rules of that event, and everybody plays a card, and the cards are worth points. Some of the cards will have certain actions that you're going to be doing. They're very simple, straightforward actions, like play this card down, take a card that's in front of another player. And they're going to be color-coded cards, and certain cards are going to get you points for having so many green cards or so many red cards, or you're going to score points based on a lot of different things in this game, but it's all very simple, straightforward. Basically playing a card and drawing back up to whatever your hand size is, which is changing throughout the game. This game is actually going to get a 7 rating. I did enjoy it. It's nothing amazing, but it's a fun little filler game. It's fun, fast, it's extremely luck-driven, the artwork is cute. There's nothing offensive about this game, basically, to me. I think it's fast enough where the luck doesn't bother me, but it's fun enough where it's cute, and I'm like, okay, we'll play like a 4-player game of this that takes 20 minutes, and then we'll move on to something else. It's a good little appetizer piece for later in the day. The next game up on our list is Ancient Realm. Ancient Realm is a small button-shy game created by the same person who made Sprawlopolis. Ancient Realm is a small solo-only game, button-shy game, so it's a wallet-sized game, so it means it only has 18 cards. It actually only has 14 cards technically in the game, because 4 of the cards are used as resource trackers. You keep track of how much gold you have, keep track of how much wheat you have. Basically just your different resources you have in this game. You're going to have a lineup of cards, this market of cards, and 2 of these cards are going to be district cards, and 2 of these cards are going to be wonder cards, at least at the beginning of the game. And throughout the game, you're going to be placing out these cards into your own little play area. Then you're also going to be covering up certain cards, certain parts of the cards, in order to gather up more resources in the game to build these wonders. These wonders are going to be how you're going to score the majority of your points. And it is just a little civilization building game. And you're going to be covering up these spots. You have to pay to cover up a lot of these spots, and then those are going to give you more resources, more coins, or more different actions you can take. Also, on the side of these district cards, the top of the deck of the district cards is going to give you a certain special action for until that card is put into the market area. And so it's going to make for interesting choices every single round, and how you're going to try to build out the civilization, which parts you're going to try to cover up, because you're going to have to cover up spots that you don't want to cover up, because those spots might get you points for other areas. And the wonders, there's lots of wonders that are going to score you points for different types of people that are out into your civilization, so you don't want to cover those up. So you have a lot of interesting choices throughout this game, and it's very, very fast. This is going to get a 7.5 rating for me. It's got that fast, addictive nature to it that a lot of these solo-only games have, like Sprawlopolis, like Rove, that I really enjoy. And like I said, you can play it in about 10 minutes. And the first time I played this game, I played it for probably 2 hours. So I played it, 10, 15 times in those 2 hours, just trying to beat my scores from game to game. And one of the things that nicked it a little bit for myself is I thought the rule book wasn't very clear and concise. Button Shy always tries to make these little tiny rule books that are basically 7 pages long, and the rule books are this tall, so it's basically a paragraph worth of words. They could have used a little bit more explanation, because some things in the game aren't explained very well at all. But so I had to watch a video on it, and once I did, the game became clear, and I played it a dozen or two times now. And yeah, it's fun, addictive. I don't know how much more I will be playing it, but I will be playing it more. But it might have a short sort of time frame that you can only play this game, 20 or 30 times, and then it kind of goes away. But for being like a $10 game, absolutely, definitely enjoyed it. 7.5, definitely worth your time and your money. So yeah, 7.5, Ancient Realm. Going on to the last game we're going to be talking about today, that is Dawn of Ulos. This is the latest game in the Role Player Tale series of games, the series that is probably my favorite series of all time for games. And all of these games are very, very different. They're just set in that same, fantasy world of almost like D&D, basically. But in this game, this is a tile-laying game. You have a big giant map in front of you to start, or in front of everybody to start the game. And on your turn, you're going to be placing a tile on matching terrain types on this big board. And throughout the game, there's going to be different fantasy creatures that come out onto the board, and you're just going to be expanding their territory of each of these fantasy creatures. And each fantasy creature wants certain types of terrain attached to their particular terrain. If you get those types of terrain, their strength goes up, and there's going to be this track. Their fight track goes up, which is on this big board, and it's basically, you can think of it as a big stock market board. So the more terrain they have of the specific types, the higher their stock value is. So after you place out a terrain and adjust their track, basically, then you have the option of buying cards. And there's, like I said, it's basically a market now of, you can buy these dwarves, and you buy each of the cards that you want to buy for however far along that track they are. And they're just going to be moving up and down the whole game consistently, back and forth, and the market's just going to fluctuate depending on different things. You can buy up to 3 cards, or if you don't want to buy cards that turn, you can play a card from your hand, and you get the spoils of that race, the card that you played, which is going to be on that track as well. You're going to get so many points, get so much currency basically for them, and then you're going to do that special ability of them. And so it makes for a really interesting when do you want to buy cards and when do you want to use the cards as their special abilities, because when you use them, then they're not in your hand anymore, and at the end of the game you're going to score points for each card that's in your hand depending on where that race is on that track. There are also going to be conflicts that happen throughout the game where one of the fantasy races, if they collide with another fantasy race's terrain, there's going to be a conflict. Whoever's got the most fight in them basically takes over that other character's land, and so they might grow even more powerful. And when that conflict arises, you can also commit cards to this sort of fight, and it's going to add to their fight, but you are going to lose half of those cards that you commit to that fight. So that makes for even more interesting choices of who you want to win. You want this fantasy race to win, so you're going to commit some cards, but now those cards aren't going to be in your hand anymore. So how do you want to play this game? And it's going to get a 7.5 rating from me. This is such a weird game to explain to people. Every time I've taught it to 2 different groups. I've also played like the solo game of it. It's just very weird to explain to people. And every time I've explained it, we're like halfway through the game, and then some of the people are like, oh, okay, I get it. I'm not actually these fantasy creatures. I'm not these fantasy races. We're basically playing as gods, manipulating the land, betting on which race is going to do better by the end of the game. And yeah, so it's a weird game. I like it a lot, and it's weird at the same time. But 7.5 rating, another good game in the role player series of games. Definitely one I enjoyed. But that will conclude this video. We only had 4 games this week. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. Hope you all have an amazing day. Take care.